Hey, everybody. This is Dr. Jess and Paul Burgess, the great and powerful, with another installment of our podcast, Why You Are Really Ill. And today, you notice we changed the background in line with what we talked about last week, which is how we actually develop our illnesses, which is an interaction between our belief systems, our internal environment, and our external environment. Okay. And why sometimes you really can't do this on your own. So what we promised last week is that we would talk about one subject per week. And this week, we're going to talk about belief systems. Okay. And how they came about, how they contribute or cause you to become ill or to become healthy, one of the two. Okay. And what you can do about it. So take it away, Paul.
Thanks. Beliefs, I think, are where the root cause of illness begins. But we've got an interaction here, right? An intersection between internal, external, and beliefs. So they all play their part. But initially, beliefs are the first foray into this illness arena. The reason I say that is because your beliefs determine your actions, and your actions will determine an outcome. So if your belief is that it is okay to stay up till 2 a.m. and watch Netflix, that's what you will do. Right? Belief is that it's okay to do it, then that will be your behavior. And if you do that consistently, you will get tired and poor glucose management and high cholesterol and all sorts of other things. And long-term things like Alzheimer's and dementia are based around sleep deprivation. So the belief is, oh, it's okay to watch the next episode of that. The outcome is sadly long-term chronic disease. Now, I'm not saying you can't watch Netflix, but it's an example. Gaming.
Change over to Prime Video.
Right? Gaming is also a big problem, which is going to be more and more prevalent because it's a way in which people get online, they play games with people all around the world in all different time zones, and it can go on for hours and hours and hours on end. And it has, they almost disregard everything else because they're so zoned into the gaming of what they're doing, which is fine. It's a pastime, but it's massively unhealthy when you're doing it for hours on end and it's now 3 o'clock in the morning and you've got work and you've got to be up and all this kind of stuff. The same goes for your beliefs behind what you eat, right? Or how much exercise you do, or the type of exercise you do, or your religion, or your anything, any belief that you have determines your behavior. So this is an example I often give is high cholesterol, right? So if you've got high cholesterol, that's normally driven by lots of different factors: inflammation, poor blood glucose, stress, immune function, all sorts of weird and wonderful things. It's never just one thing. And high cholesterol, we know, is a good indicator of a disease process going on. There's some combination of things happening which are driving up this cholesterol. It's like a gauge that tells you how bad.
And it should be looked at like that, not an end unto itself, and not to be going crazy over.
Yeah, but it's not a disease. High cholesterol is not a disease. It is a symptom of other things going on, which is why
you might want to repeat that 3 times because that's how it's presented to us.
Of course,
high cholesterol is not a disease. It's not a disease. It's an indicator. It's a biomarker. It's a gauge.
Exactly right. But here's the thing. If you want to understand it perfectly, let me tell you, people who take statins, which is the drug to bring cholesterol down, have a higher all-cause mortality rate than people that do not take statins, which means they die more than the people that don't take statins, because that indicator, that cholesterol, is very important to tell us things are going wrong.
Right.
The statin artificially brings down the indicator to a normal level, but the things that were going wrong are still going wrong. So you'll still get the heart attack, the stroke, the cancer, everything else.
It's true. If you take the measuring stick or the measuring gauge and just simply pull it down, okay, you're not correcting what caused the gauge to be that way in the first place.
Correct.
And if you're using a mechanism excuse me, like a statin to dial it down. That's nice.
Yeah,
Okay. Except you're not correcting the whole cascade of events that got it there in the first place.
exactly, right. And there's normally more than one, but let's take one as high blood glucose, right? High
Yes.
blood sugar. And that's one of the things that can lead to high cholesterol. And then we're talking about beliefs. Okay. So what are your beliefs behind the high cholesterol, or sorry, behind your diet? Well, I believe it's okay to have carbohydrate because it's important for energy. You know, all my family have always eaten pizza and donuts and French fries and burgers. It's just the way we are. We've always eaten like that. We're all overweight, but then that's just in our family. Okay,
Right.
great. Well, that belief has driven that behavior to say that it's
Right.
okay to have the soda and the pizza and everything else. And that is what has driven up your numbers. If the belief changes to be something like it's only okay to eat foods that work well for me, right? So if I can eat foods that will give me more energy, that are going to bring down inflammation, that are going to stabilize my blood glucose, that are going to reduce my cholesterol, going to help me sleep, make me more creative, improve my sex drive, everything else, they're the foods that I want to eat. If that's your belief, then your behavior will be of that, right? So you'll eat those foods and therefore the outcome will be different. So that's where beliefs, I believe, are one of the fundamental root causes of our problems when it comes to health. On diet, especially, very, very quickly, something that I think is really important. So many people ask us, what's the best diet to go on?
Right.
And I can't remember if I've mentioned it on this before. I know I've mentioned it elsewhere, but there isn't a best diet, just so people know. Okay, stop looking. It's not out there.
Again, say that 3 times. There's no best diet. There's
Right,
no best printed out diet.
but here's the thing, right? Beliefs. You're told, your beliefs. What influences your beliefs is marketing, television, media, social media, friends, colleagues, magazines, whatever it is that are telling you,
Merchandising.
right? So they're all telling you to believe this about that. And
Right.
then you get that messaging from enough places, and that's what your belief
Right.
is. And there's
Exactly.
a massive coercion. Right? These beliefs are not your choice, by the way. You are
Right.
coerced into something.
You have been for
But
decades upon decades.
but for other people's benefits, right? But when it
Right.
comes to food, is carnivore best? Is paleo? Is keto? Is low carb, high fat? Is low fat, high carb? Is whatever, right? Vegan, vegetarian, whoever cares, right? Here's something you just need to think about. 100,000 years ago, we evolved eating whatever we could get our hands on.
Right.
Same as any other animal right now, right? They'll
Right.
eat whatever they can find on that day.
Whatever was in season.
Right? So we would eat carnivore sometimes because we'd kill an animal and that's all we'd eat. We'd eat maybe just berries or grasses or vegetable matter or whatever it is. So some weeks would be vegan, some weeks would be carnivore, some weeks we'd fast, some weeks would be
Right.
keto. It doesn't matter, right? The fact is they were eating to survive. Now, fast forward to 2021, we've cracked that problem of not having food available to us on a regular basis. Right?
Mhm.
One thing the world has done is managed to feed itself. Now that opens up a whole other box of worms, which is, well, the stuff they're feeding themselves is crap. But we no longer have to worry about where we're going to get our next meal from.
Mhm.
Most people, not everyone, I'm fully aware there are children in India digging through
Yes.
rubbish tips to get their food. I am fully aware of that. But from the majority of people in the Western world, we can access food 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, right? If I want a mango today and it's out of season, I'll find it. It's not a problem. So we've got access to everything we need. So instead of eating to survive, which is what we were doing 100,000 years ago, we now have the environment and the ability and the opportunity to eat to thrive. It's a very big difference. Okay, I can pick food that's going to make me healthy, lean, creative, passionate, sleep well, energized, everything that I want to have an amazing life. That is available to me right now, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And yet people will choose to eat for taste. They'll go for the pizza and the burger and the fries and the milkshake and the donut and everything else because their belief is that's okay. It's what I want. It's cheap. It's not that bad. Everyone eats it. And so we've got it completely messed up. We've managed to go from having to struggle to find food to survive, having the best everything that we could ever want available to us 24/7, and then ignoring the fact that it's there because we want to do something else that we've been told by marketing and whatever other influences that you want to put down is okay. Right? When you see when you see a McDonald's or a pizza advert or anything like that, these people are not 400 pounds in weight and can't get out of bed. These people that you see eating it are all happy and smiley and
jumping around, and it's all kinds of good stuff.
It's the most amazing life ever.
It is true.
And that's where the beliefs are so important, right? If your beliefs are wrong, then your outcome is going to be massively compromised. So it's a really important thing to understand.
Understanding your belief system and where it comes from is important, no question. Just remember in advertising, the credo is create the need, then meet the need. Okay, so way back when, I remember when they came out with the mouthwash scope, and they actually would mail it to most Americans. And the joke was that they put on TV was leave a bottle of scope for somebody if they had bad breath. Well, bad breath was considered something normal and usual, and you didn't see any mouthwashes in the 1950s movies or anything like that, because people were expected to have coffee breath or cigarette breath or whatever. But now it would be something that was very offensive to have bad breath. So now you have mouthwash and you have toothpaste and you have stuff to put in your mouth, and just to make your breath smell sweet, because that was the societal norm that has been created. How much of what you're doing has been created by those who are just trying to make billions of dollars from you? And it goes almost everywhere.
We have a massive coercion at the moment around a pandemic and what you need to do.
Oh, yes.
Or you cannot live your life anymore.
Oh, right? My.
If you don't take this particular thing and take it twice and then take again, because it's not going to work for much longer, so you need a new version of it. If you don't do those things, then we're going to take away your ability to live a normal and free life.
Sadly, some of this stuff is being mandated.
Yeah.
But we're not going to get into that because I don't want our podcast to be shut down. Okay.
But all it is an example of how people are influenced around their beliefs.
Right.
And a lot of people believe, it's the greatest thing in the world, and that's what you must do, and everyone else is selfish. And that's fine. You can have that belief. But you got to understand where your beliefs come from and what the outcome is going to be of that belief, because it will have an action, and that action will have a consequence. So that's where, when it comes down to your health, one of the main root causes is what you believe.
Let me give everybody a small piece of advice. Past year and a half, 2 years, I have been asked consistently about vaccinations, about COVID, about what to do about it. And I have been doing all the research because I feel it's part of my job to wade my way through the detritus to figure out truth, so that I can impart it to, frankly, whoever will listen. And truth in this particular time frame has been very difficult to get. Okay, we went from taking 100,000 IUs of vitamin D a day, which is incredibly dangerous, by the way, to, let's take this herbal preparation. Let's, take medications that have been known to injure the heart, and our president sitting there touting it without any knowledge of it whatsoever. It has gone a little nuts, but in your belief systems, have you noticed that everything is getting very complex? That you're trying to dive into this to help yourself, and it's just so complex. Let me tell you something that will help you. It's called Occam's razor. It's not a shaving company. It's a philosophical principle that says when things are complex, the simplest solution is usually the one. Okay, so if you take the middle road, where you keep it simple and you shoot away all the complexities, 99 times out of 100, or I should say 99.99 times out of 100, you're going to be right. If you keep yourself in the middle ground, especially with all these conflicting beliefs and saying, look, there's no line of truth here. Okay. Keep yourself in the middle ground and you'll be safe. Okay. Keep yourself in the middle ground with diet. In other words, does everybody need to be keto? Does everybody need to be carnivore? Does everybody need to be macrobiotic? No. And how do you decide? Well, you could go with, with the blood type, but that doesn't work for everybody. It's a good thought.
But when it comes to that kind of stuff, here's my opinion on it. There are very good reasons to use certain types of restrictive diet, right? There are good reasons to go keto or carnivore or vegan or paleo, whatever it is. They're very good as an intervention. And I've used them numerous times in my practice, all different ones for different people. Because what we're trying to do is get people back on track. And if we're trying to fix them, sometimes autoimmune paleo as a diet is actually quite useful because it allows us to do some other work without lots of things interfering.
Right.
And so sometimes carnivore or whatever it is. Overall, though, it needs to be something as flexible and as varied as possible so you can stick to it. And initially, you might need to go on something with a name, but afterwards, you kind of want to be something that's much more broad. And that's where the problem is, because people think they need to go on this thing or the name of this diet forever. But what they're not doing is using it as an intervention while they fix the other things. Which is why if you start trying to do this,
they don't know there are other things to fix.
There's a huge amount of stuff. And that's why if you're trying to do it on your own, you've got no chance.
Sure.
If it's not your job, if it's not your profession and you haven't researched it for the last 30 years like us and you haven't really dug into it, I'm not trying to tell you you're incompetent. I'm just saying it's not your skill set. Do not waste your time and your money and your effort and get frustrated by doing things that are being touted at you as the next big cure. Get it done properly with the right people, and you will see that you can change your life completely.
Paul makes an incredible point. I'll break it down just a little bit. Okay. Everybody knows that myself and Elizabeth Lambert in Australia wrote a book, Leaky Gut, Leaky Cells, Leaky Brain. Okay. There are still people, excuse me. There are still people out there, professionals, who don't believe in the leaky gut and how it causes inflammation and all the problems of our society, which it does. It's one of the major contributors. How did we get there? In the 1960s, everything was meat, breakfast meat, lunch meat, dinner meat. And we all recognized that was bad because people had a high level of colon cancer and so forth. So what came out of that was macrobiotics, which was grain. And for a while there, everybody was doing really, really good on it. But then people started becoming allergic to gluten. Okay. And then when they got allergic to gluten, they said, oh, let's put them on soy. Then they became allergic to soy. And that progressed until right now it's gluten, casein, soy, and corn. Why is that? Well, let's change over to paleo. Let's change over to keto. Okay. And people are feeling better, but only for a little while. Why? Because they're changing their diets, going on these massively restrictive. I mean, candida diets, ridiculous. Antihistaminic diets, absolutely ludicrous. Yes, short term, but not fixing the problem and having to live your life like that. All you haven't done is fix the reason why you're reacting to the foods. And that could be multiple, that could be multifactorial, but what contributes to the leaky gut, what contributes to that whole symptom complex, if you have a mast cell activation disorder or something like that, okay, if that's never dealt with, okay, you'll never get better. Why is it never dealt with? Because your practitioners don't believe that there are causes for these things, and will treat the condition without treating the body and without treating the root causes.
But they treat the symptom, right? They're using a diet to treat a symptom. They go, right, look, if you've got this problem, this bloating and this headaches and this fatigue and you can't sleep and everything else, you have got to go carnivore because that takes out all of these nasties. So there you go. That's it. You're
Short
fixed.
term. But if you do it for 6 months,
Yeah,
the allergens that you're creating with the carnivore will be the reason that you get sick again.
Yeah, but even so, what I'm saying is they don't go a step beyond that. They go, this is the cure. You take this,
Right.
your symptoms will disappear. But you're treating your symptom.
Right.
I'm not interested in the symptom. The symptom is a endpoint of what
Right.
you've been doing.
Exactly.
And we're still interested in what is the root cause. The root cause is your
Right.
beliefs, your external environment and your internal environment. These are the root causes, all of which need to be dealt with.
Right.
If you are not au fait with these, if you're not schooled in them and you do not understand them properly, and you just do one, which is my diet, ain't never going to change. Because
exactly
you haven't
true.
And what's going on underneath is going to get worse.
Exactly.
And people don't get it. And the sad thing is people come to us when they have experienced enough pain.
Right.
And I'm trying to get to people and say, don't wait for that point, right? Don't keep looking for the quick fix, the cheap answer, the popular thing. Just get it done properly now and don't wait until you've had that pain. Because they come to us and they're almost suicidal. Some people like, I cannot go on like this. And then they eventually say, okay, I've tried everything. Now I need to go here.
It used to be almost a contest amongst us because we're usually the last practitioner somebody sees. And how many other practitioners have they seen? 25, 35. And I think I hold the record with a person who came to me after 170 practitioners.
Wow.
Very few people, need to go on elsewhere, but it is something. I kind of wish people would come to us first, but
But that's all we're trying to do. Listen, the only message we're trying to get out is understand this. You're not going to find it on your own. Right. Unless somebody's dealing with your beliefs, your internal and your external environments, and all of these subcategories within those. Unless somebody is doing all of that, it's not going to change. And that takes time, by the way. 12 months of your life needs to be invested in it.
Especially if you've been sick for many, many years.
Exactly, yeah. Right. So 12 months is the quick fix. And it's going to be that to take you forward for the next 50 years. But don't wait another 6 years and another 2 decades or whatever it is and get more and more sick, more and more frustrated, and all the rest of it before going, oh, okay, maybe I should look into this. Trust me, 2021, we are so far ahead of the game right now. You can jump ahead and start getting yourself fixed now. Do not wait.
Some of the stuff I put on Facebook, I preface it with, they're finally catching up. Gee, the gut microbiome can affect your emotions. And I'll put out the article and say, they're finally catching up to us. We've been doing this for decades. Now, people, this has been a really good podcast. Don't forget that if you question whether, you're at that point that you need that kind of help, you can go right here to drjessonline.com or paulburgess.uk. And we both offer half-hour, what I like to call meet and greets or get acquainted sessions, so we can determine if we can help you and what would be necessary to do so. So join us again next week when we discuss either internal environment or external environment in depth. So you really do understand what's going on and you can start taking actions that will start getting you on the road to health. Okay, guys. Paul, excellent as usual, man.
Pleasure, mate.
Take care, brother. Bye-bye.